again, Tara Zier, founder and CEO of the Stiff Person Syndrome Research Foundation. It's just incredible to be here with everybody. Let's go quickly. Jill, next. If you want to advance the slide. There we go. These are my peeps. So I talked about them a little bit earlier. So I want to speak to why I started the foundation. I talk with you about the diagnostic odyssey that I went through, and that in 2017 I was unable to work, drive, care for myself or my kids. And I found my way to Johns Hopkins for treatment, and it was probably my third visit at Hopkins. I was sitting on that, that crinkly paper. And my neurologist, he was typing in some information, and he kind of casually said to me, yeah, we recently applied for a grant for research at NIH, and we were denied the grant because there was not enough research to support getting the grant. And I was like, whoa, like that just stopped me in my tracks. I was, a single mother, no good treatments, no cure. And, if a world-renowned academic center like Johns Hopkins can't get a grant for research, that's a problem. So that was my aha moment. I began raising awareness, and in late 2019, I started the Stiff Person Syndrome Research Foundation with two main drivers: one, to support research for better treatments and a cure, and two, to show my children that no matter what life throws at you, you can still make a difference. I have to have notes. I'm not as not as good as Meg or Samira. They're both pros. Next slide, please, Jill. Okay. The mission and vision, they're very similar across organizations. We simply want to end SPS, period. Next slide, please. Okay, this is a really, really busy slide. And that's because mostly it's true. I think it mentions that it's progressive. That's what's out there in the literature. We did speak to that it's not progressive for everyone. So I do want to speak to that. A lot of these things mentioned on the slide, like it's rare, it affects the central nervous system. People have stiffness, painful muscle spasms, often takes years to diagnose. Frequently misdiagnosed. Many patients end up disabled, unable to work or care for themselves. All that's true. And a few years ago, I shared this description with someone. And he said, yeah, sometimes my neck is stiff in the morning. And I was thinking, wow, people really don't get this disease. And the name is really not helping us there. So when people ask me, what is stiff person syndrome? Here's what I tell them. Have you ever had a Charlie horse in your calf? I'm guessing, is my mic still working? Oh. Testing. Oh, it's bleeding through. I don't know what that means. Oh, it is. Oh my gosh, am I? Okay. Are we better now? Okay. All right. Sounds good. Okay. So now when people ask me, what is stiff person syndrome? Here's what I tell them. Have you ever had a Charlie horse in your calf? I'm guessing most of you probably have and can appreciate the pain that goes along with it. Now imagine having one in your whole body that literally stops you in your tracks. Your neck feels like it's in a vice. Your chest is squeezed to where you can't breathe. Your legs are like boards where you can't walk. And your spine is strained to the point your vertebrae break. That's what it's like for many who live with stiff person syndrome. When people reference this disease, that's what I want you to picture. People are not just stiff. Next slide, please. So why the SPSRF? What makes us different? I want to pause for one moment. And I want to highlight, we are patient-led. I'm a patient. We have patients and caregivers who are amazing volunteers in committees and on our board of directors. We all want better treatments. And you're simply not going to find people more personally invested or more committed to this cause. So what do we bring to the table? I want to highlight 3 things. We have a broad global reach. The SPSRF is the only foundation supporting research worldwide for SPS. And because we're not tied to one institution, we're able to work across academic boundaries and build partnerships that span the globe. 2, we drive awareness and influence policy. We help raise visibility and influence health policy by sharing patient voices and lived experience. 3, we tear down silos and bring together the best of the best. One of the biggest barriers in rare disease research is people working in isolation. As a neutral patient-driven organization, we can lead initiatives that connect research centers and promote collaboration with researchers, clinicians, patients, and partners to move the science forward and make a real impact. Next slide, Jill. So I'm highlighting, this year has been one of real momentum. So I'm highlighting some things that have happened this year to celebrate. 4 key areas: the SPS Global Registry, the SPS Diagnostic Criteria Initiative, our symposium we had last weekend, and industry partnerships. Next slide. So one major milestone, we officially launched the SPS Global Registry just a few weeks ago and already have over 100 people who have joined. For those unfamiliar with what a registry is, it's a series of surveys where people answer questions about their experience with a rare disease like SPS. That includes things like demographics, how they were diagnosed, what symptoms they have, what treatments they've tried, and how it's affected their quality of life. This registry was in development for over 2 years, built with input from SPS experts, data scientists, patients, and caregivers. So why does this matter? Because one of the biggest gaps in rare disease research, there are a couple gaps, is the lack of data. And this registry is helping to solve that. These surveys filled out over time allow researchers to study the natural history of SPS, how it progresses, and that helps design better clinical trials and accelerates research. We're also linking the survey data with biospecimens in a centralized biorepository, which is critical for developing new drugs and treatments. Anyone with a confirmed SPS diagnosis can join. Can visit our website at stiffperson.org, and there will be a link to enroll. Next slide, please. I know earlier we talked a little bit about diagnostic criteria. How are these diseases diagnosed? The SPS Diagnostic Criteria Initiative is another critical step forward. Right now, doctors don't diagnose SPS the same way. There's no standard, and that's a big problem. Patients are taking years to get an accurate diagnosis. They're misdiagnosed. They can be given inappropriate treatments where they can be harmed because of it. We are changing that by developing the first ever evidence-based standardized diagnostic criteria for SPS and its subtypes, so patients can get answers sooner and receive appropriate care. We brought together top SPS experts, patient partners, and guideline methodologists. The process follows rigorous standards and uses the best methods for synthesizing evidence, including grade methodology, to assess the trustworthiness of this evidence. Say that 5 times fast. By late this year or early next, a panel of experts will set the criteria. Once published, they'll be shared broadly with clinicians, hospitals, medical societies, and advocacy groups, so they're actually used in practice. For patients, this will help with faster diagnosis and fewer errors. For researchers, when everyone uses the same clear SPS diagnostic criteria, data will be gathered in a similar way, making study results easier to compare and useful in many different settings. This initiative lays the foundation for stronger clinical trials, smarter care, and better outcomes. Next slide, please. That's our symposium. Where's Stephanie? Where are you in there? I know you're in there. Oh my gosh, here we are. Now we're here. So this happened last weekend. And then, I don't even know what to say. I think the slide speaks for itself.
Get us all, to be honest.
It did, but that just makes me smile. Look at all these people. It's so wonderful. This symposium, gosh, I'm trying not to cry here. I blame that on Meg. The SPS Symposium, just like this one, it's more than just an event. It is a lifeline. It gives us a voice and strengthens our community. It creates space for patients and caregivers to connect, many for the first time, helping ease the isolation that's so common with a rare disease like SPS. It allows clinicians and researchers to learn directly from patient experiences, which helps shape more informed, compassionate care. Most importantly, it gives us hope for the future, hope knowing things are moving forward and that we are not in this alone. Next slide, please. There you go. I love this map. Oh, goodness. So there were attendees from over 20 countries. We had 3 folks in person from Brazil. They got T-shirts for farthest traveled, which is really, really cool. This kind of commitment tells us something powerful, that people see value in what we're building and they want to be a part of it. Next slide, please. Industry partnerships. One of the most exciting milestones this year was being approached by Kyverna to help recruit patients for the first multi-center registrational clinical trial for SPS. This is huge, not just for our foundation, but for our entire community. In rare disease, ethical and transparent partnerships with industry can help accelerate research and ensure patients are represented when treatments are being developed. We're proud to collaborate with companies like Kyverna that are genuinely invested in patients' needs. Kyverna was also our highest sponsor for this year's symposium. We're certainly very grateful for their support. Next slide. When I started this foundation, it was out of necessity for my kids, for myself, and for everyone living with SPS. Today, we're no longer just hoping for change. We're creating it. Thank you.